How is gang? This is future Jim here, or past Jim, or Jim doing any editing, and I just thought I'd check in to tell you that viewer discretion is advised for this podcast in particular. It's about as bold as it gets. If you are offended or don't want to hear about graphic tales of sex, gay sex, all sorts of boldness, now's the time to tune out. If you're ready, let's go. Hell yeah, and welcome to episode 35 of the Temple Bard podcast with me, Jim Wynn, Philip Noon, and today we're joined by two special guests, Mr. Andy Lee and Richie, the Irish Bull, aka.
So boys,
how are you, lads?
How are you? I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. We're here in the
PSU, and the first thing I'm going to say, boys, is I'm absolutely blown away by this.
Yeah,
like this is phenomenal. It's like having a world right beneath the world that we live in. They're kind of running side by side, but this world is just complete sex.
It's mental, isn't it?
It's mental.
Do you know what PSU stands for? It's a Porn Star University.
Yeah.
And you set this up?
I set this up, yeah, for up-and-coming porn stars or content creators that wanted a place and guidance. So I set it up, and yeah, it works really well.
Good stuff. And there's two, so like what we do is, there's two boys out here, two Irish boys,
Dublin lads.
Yeah, Dublin
lads.
representing in the porn scene in England.
Here in the heart of England.
How does it come about, boys?
Yeah.
Do you I'll tell my story.
You'll go first, yeah.
So I've been in the porn industry now for 15 years. This is year 15 now. 15 years ago, I came to the UK from Australia, looking for a new start at life. I met a guy in the gym, and he saw me with my old boy hanging out, and he's like, "You should do porn." And we're here now.
Just in the changing room.
Like you got it.
There's a lot more to the story. Like a friend of mine recognised him from somewhere, and he's like, "I recognise him from a gay porn website."
Right.
And I was like, "I didn't know you were gay." He said, I'm not gay. He got really defensive. And I said, "It's okay if you're gay, it's cool, you know." He said, I'm not gay. And then he was like, I just done a jerking off video for a gay website. And I said, "How much?" He's like, 600 quid. And I was like, "I'll fucking do that." Yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah, that was it. So then 2 days later, I was in with the website, and I was doing my first video, me just jerking off. It was 600 quid. They invited me back the next day, another 600 quid, and then 3 days later. So I made 1,800 quid in 1 week.
Crazy.
And I was doing demolition at the time for £5 an hour. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say 15 years ago, it's obviously a lot of money, 600 quid back then, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
It's massive.
It's funny how
That's what they said.
whatever it is, he had it. The two lads have it. We've seen.
So it was like, have you seen Boogie Nights? It
No.
was like, so Boogie Nights, the
Mark Wahlberg.
with Mark Wahlberg, the American porn one.
Diggler,
Dirk Diggler, yeah. So it's like the first time.
Shocked at that. Man.
Brilliant.
Dirk Diggler, the first time that he takes it out and everybody recognises, and they're like, this is the career path for you, like this.
Oh, there you go.
But it's funny, we talk about stuff in the podcast a lot of how the universe kind of unfolds, how it's supposed to.
Exactly.
And like, as you say, you just met a fella in the gym, and that could have been just it, but then for someone to recognise him from somewhere else, all the pieces had to fall into place, you know what I mean?
That's it.
And
I always say I was born for porn.
Yeah.
You know, like my story doesn't end there. I've been doing porn on the side as a cash in hand job every now and again over the years, just as and when. Like they would call me and say, "Look, come and do a shoot. You know, I'll get 300 quid or 500 or whatever." And then at the start of COVID, I was working for the local council as the gas manager. I hadn't done porn in years, and my boss just said to me one day, he was just like, "I need to have a chat with you." He said, "It's been come to my attention that you do porn." And I was like, "Fuck." I said, so like me and him went back and forth arguing, and I said to him, "So what do you want to come out of this conversation?" And he said, "I want you to resign today." I was like, "But this is my dream job. My plan was to get into project development and build blocks of flats and stuff."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I want you to resign today." So I had to resign that day. And I just torn my bicep as well. So I was in a sling. I got severely depressed. Couldn't get another job because it was the start of COVID. Sat on my sofa for 3 months, just getting like sinking deeper into a hole. And then someone said to me, "We should try OnlyFans." And it was the best thing I ever done.
It's mad because over COVID, I remember hearing all these stories. Especially there was a couple of girls that I knew, and they were making animal money on OnlyFans. And this was like, because it kind of took back, OnlyFans took back the power in terms of like, everything was company orientated before this, and now you could be your boss, and now you could make the mad money, and now like Did you feel like that?
kind of
Yeah, instead of getting the
decentralised
£300 per video, now I built an empire.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's decentralized. We've talked about that a lot actually as well. We find like a lot of kind of things where it used to be the power was in the one kind of area. Now people are kind of getting more. It's kind of being watered down a bit where you can be more independent, not just in this industry, but in lots of industries like in music and everything else.
The main thing about OnlyFans is it gives you the pure control. You can post whatever you want or not post whatever you want. You have the direct connection with the audience, you know, your customers.
Yeah.
Instead of going through a big corporation.
Yeah, they kind of tell you what they want.
Exactly.
I can imagine, yeah.
And then you
And
could
takes the
obviously
guesswork out of it.
you could upsell everything to everybody as well.
So one of the chapters in the book is called "Gay for Pay,"
Yeah,
so you're a straight man.
I'm straight, yeah, but I do stuff sexually
On the
with men.
weekends.
It depends on which drinks I have. So yeah, I do stuff sexually with men. I'm totally straight. People get confused like how I can be straight and do something sexually with men, get sucked off by a guy or something like that. And the fact is, like, I'm gay. No. No.
Table Bar podcast exclusive.
No. No, the fact is that it's my job. You know, if I can do something with a girl, why can't I do something with a bloke on camera?
Yeah.
My audience are gay men. I'm not physically attracted to men. So I don't look at you guys. Obviously, you're good looking lads, don't get me wrong, but I don't look at you and get aroused.
But is it not difficult to get aroused then, or is it like
No, I
get
become a
little bit of help?
character.
Yeah. Oh, so you just kind of inhabit the character, yeah.
Yeah, and some fellas need Viagra and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I personally can't take it because it gives me the hot flushes.
Okay, right.
But yeah, I'm just a filthy fuck anyway. So
Yeah. But as straight men, right? Does it affect your relationship with women?
yeah, they love it.
Do they love
Do
it?
they?
Yeah.
Do they love it, yeah?
Ask any woman. A lot of women love gay porn.
Yeah, we've talked about this because we always talk about how the dualities are collapsing. We talk about how everything is like a duality collapsing in the podcast, and whereas previously kind of like men were into lesbian porn, like all straight men, but obviously now I think there's more women into porn in general, and more women into seeing gay lads doing gay acts. Like it's more, like, it's kind of all coming together. Right?
Your
Or
bird's not
or
going to
straight
want to
lads.
look at you looking at straight porn. 'Cause she's gonna get
That's true
jealous
as
because
well,
you're looking
yeah,
at a
I
girl,
suppose,
so
yeah.
she'd much rather watch it with a fella. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to men. Like straight girls are attracted to men, and to see two men being erotic with each other is horny.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just it seems like maybe it was because of the gender roles or something how it's changing now, but it just seems to become much more even, like in terms of people who view porn. Like I know a lot of when I was in my 20s, very few women will admit to watching porn anyway. But in my 30s and since then, like nearly every girl I've been with has watched porn. Like,
Oh, no,
That's because I'm around now.
it's the lads. They didn't watch it before.
So it's funny enough because I was just saying this in terms, you know, Catholic Ireland, and there's always been that kind of guilt, and there's always been, you know, that kind of, it's like almost like a little bit of shame surrounding sex, especially growing up. Nobody talked about it. I remember being 14 and like boys kind of sharing the one DVD, and like, you know, this was before phones and all. Like I remember boys
my
like
lad used to have like a red leather bag up in the top shelf. We found it one day. We were like, oh, kids, a candy store, man.
So like you had that, right? And we never had anybody represent Ireland in the porn scene.
I can't. Yeah, I don't
I'd say arguably like you're probably I'd say you are the most famous Irish face in porn history at this stage.
There's no one else in it that does it, really, is there? Like,
No one else that can keep up, literally.
And
You boys are paving the way, like.
we love a pun here in the Temple Bar podcast.
putting them on the map, I suppose.
But that's
for
it.
all the wrong
But
reasons.
you open the door for lads like Richie as well. like,
Exactly, and we're
yeah.
trying to normalize it. Like sex, every single person, well, the majority of people have sex.
Yeah.
The majority of people watches porn. It's just how comfortable you are in yourself to admit it and to open up your sexuality. I'm not saying everyone has to have sex with men if they're straight. I'm not saying nothing like that. But if you're attracted to whatever you're attracted to, explore it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also it's a thing I know from gay friends that I have that there's a big kink for straight men.
guys, yeah, definitely.
It's a thing in the gay community, like her. So I think that goes back away to like how straight men like watching two girls. It's the same kind of thing. The men just want to have that fantasy of being like having a bit of control or being able to change someone. Or
I was
It's
never
like the
into two
forbidden
girls.
fruit.
Yeah.
I was
You
know
never
what I
into lesbian porn. I always need to see
I
them
was
get
never really
fucked.
into it myself either. To be
Know what I
honest. When I was like first only getting
And even
into
me mate to say, why would you want to see like a woman getting fucked, or I'd rather see two women? I'd just rather see the bird getting pleasure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Two lesbians just wouldn't do much for me. Even like fucking two birds, I'd rather have
Another lad
someone
there,
like me
yeah.
and Andy and a girl, that'd be better. Because I get more pleasure out of a girl getting pleasure out of it, you know what I mean? Rather than fucking flicking the vein for an hour, you know what I mean?
So,
Two
you,
girls.
so you two boys have done scenes together.
Yeah.
It's that joke.
Even without girls.
So like, do you see, like, can you get
Even
to a
without
place?
a camera.
Just for the fun of it.
So can you get to a place of being, you know, just a couple of mates then after it? Is it the same?
Absolutely, yeah.
Just like you're so professional that like you do the scene and after you can just sit and
Have a cup of tea.
have a chat and just be like, yeah.
The way Andy actually taught me this, so the way we work is we go to work and then we come home. So whatever we do in work, if you go to work, you have to do whatever you have to do in work. You're a plasterer, you have to plaster all day. You're a bricklayer laying fucking bricks. We do porn. So whatever it is in front of us, we go and have to do it, and then we just come home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think
That's a good way, a good mindset of
He's the one that taught me. I don't think I have. Oh shit! I have to shoot with this lad or shit. I'm going to work.
Yeah,
I'm
you're a
going.
sex worker. You
And the
go to
worst
do
day
sex.
is I'm going to make some
That's-
money. I'm going to get a blowjob. It doesn't sound too bad, does it?
Could be worse.
So when you were saying about the mindset, right? I know Beyonce has a character called Sasha Fierce. And Beyonce, before she goes out on stage, she
An alter ego, isn't it?
An alter ego. She calls Sasha Fierce up. This alter ego in her head. Do you have kind of something similar? Do you have something in your head where you have to put yourself in a mind frame and you're like, I'm going to be like this today?
You're going to be the character in the video. The same way Rich becomes Irish Bull. Like, I am Andy Lee, so I just become myself, but I become my character in the video. So whatever video I pick that I'm going to do that day, whether it's a taxi video or whatever, I imagine me playing that character. What would that character do in this video? And for example, a taxi driver, he'd be a filthy pervert taxi driver. And he'll be like, where do you want to go, love? Jump in. Like, do you mean you don't have the money? Well, we can figure something else out. You know, that type of thing. And then I just don't think of it anymore. If I'm doing one where I'm dominating a gay guy, it's like, sniff my balls, you, for, you know, all that stuff. And, like, I just become that character.
Yeah, a lot of that you would think like that not even so much thought goes into it, but it's like that's why you've been so successful, because you inhabit the character. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you actually put yourself in that character and live it like for while you're doing it, and then you can switch it back off.
Yeah,
that's a big skill.
He's a very strong
big
mind
skill to
set,
have
though.
with a huge dick.
He's a very strong mind. I think you need a strong mind in it, because you get a lot with this job. You get a lot of hate, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
As you were just discussing earlier, everyone from Ireland hates anyone from Ireland doing better than them. So
yeah, we did an episode called Notions where we discuss how you get to a certain level in Ireland and people kind of try to drag you down.
Don't get too big for your boots.
Don't get too big for your boots. You're already blessed with two huge cocks, lads.
yeah.
So.
yeah, as you said, it's frowned upon in Ireland. Like Cavan, you're from, like they're all down there giving it away for nothing. Like, you know what I mean? With this camera in front of them, then they have a fucking. They go mad about it, you know what I mean?
That's
You know,
like,
it was illegal in Ireland until 1996 to be gay.
yeah.
So we could have been, well, not that we're gay, but we're doing gay acts. We could have been locked up in the 90s for doing this. That's how backwards and mental that is, you know what I mean?
It kind of took the scandals of the Catholic Church to kind of break away from all that, I think. And we're still in the very early days of it, I would say.
Yeah.
Of like opening up as a society, you know, to accepting people how they are.
Yeah.
I think we've come a long way in terms of homosexuality and like equality and that, like, but also still there's a lot of deep held kind of.
Right. I think this is the perfect time, because this is what we're talking about. Now that we're talking about that and the Catholic guilt in Ireland, it's time to shock them, boys. It's time to shock them.
Let's go.
Tell us,
Will I whip it out
tell
now?
us some of the maddest stuff you've seen in the industry. Because I've just walked around this set, right? And this is a phenomenal
see this
set.
place, folks.
We're here in the Porn Star University, and I've walked around this set, and there's a sex dungeon.
In there.
There's
prison cell.
a prison cell. There's
fake taxis.
There's a fake
We're looking at the
taxi.
fake
We're looking
taxi.
at the fake taxi. There's a doctor's room upstairs. This is like walking around Universal Studios for adults. Like, do you know what I mean? So like, I know there's mad stuff goes on in the industry. So like, I was saying that I used to live out in the Middle East, and out there, you know, homosexuality it's still illegal out there in some ways. So like, it was all very under the surface, but there was some mad stuff going on. But you boys see the fucking mad stuff on a daily basis, like, if that makes sense.
So it becomes normal to us. Like, people, we be having a conversation, and like the general public are around us are looking at us like, what the fuck is going on?
it's like
we're so
overheard.
numb to it, you know? Like, I went off to Dublin the other day to film a podcast with Joe McGuckin, and we were in a restaurant, and I was talking about the HMP Wandsworth porno. And I took him out and showed that, and he's panicking. He's like, no. But I'm so
This
numb
is a
to it.
fancy place, Andy, fuck's sake.
Well, I was on a train once coming back from London. I shot a film with I was with a girl, and I'm editing the video on the way back, and I was on the train, and I get a little tap on the shoulder. I was some outfit, and he's like, "It's not very appropriate watching porn on the train." Like, that's me, you fucking wanker. You fucking wanker.
I'm in. Go send it to me, will you?
But yeah, we have done mad stuff in this. I had Blade and Gail, content creators, running for the door in here. But when you do a scene, you have to plan it, so it's... I escort personally, so I've seen a lot worse than escorting, do you know what I mean?
Microphone to your mouth.
So I've seen a lot worse, like escorting, because there's no cameras there and they pay for like sick things, so I don't want to get his band off this. I don't want to get his band, but yeah, I've done some pretty mad
These are like
things.
pissing videos. People find that a bit. I think it's hot. Like doing some pissing videos where you piss on someone.
I done my first one here, my first pissing video with Derek Cage, and and we just done it right in there behind that curtain. I was like, Andy, I don't know I can do this. And he just pushed me out of the way, go the other way. I'm 3 bottles of water in, he says.
Step back, it's time to shine.
Over them.
We were actually discussing here when we were here now. What, like, because we were saying, if in your personal life, if you're going to meet a new girl and you're afraid you might blow your load a bit early, you might jack one out before. So if you were doing a scene and someone came quick, would you take that as the cum scene? Or would you?
I'm working then after that.
Just so there'd be more.
Because it would be accidental. You wouldn't be able to prep for it.
Yeah. But even if your man goes, I'm not going to hold you out to hold it. Like, can you just get rid of this one.
Would you say like, no, just go out, take a half an hour and chill out, have some food, and then come back?
I developed a method on how to go for longer. Like,
go on.
Yeah.
Right now, this is an exclusive, so all our male listeners now will be glued to this.
It takes a lot now. It's not too bad. It's trying. So I'll wank or jerk off, whatever you want me to say, until a point I'm about to come, and I don't mean like I feel it. I mean where it's nearly about to drip out. Stop. Just fucking stop.
Right.
It's the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
It's like so hard because you might just end up coming, but if you can stop it before you can, then just stop and just wait 5 minutes. Go again. Just to be like, no. And then you're in a board.
Like edging kind of thing, but like...
Or just look at it as work and don't get aroused.
I know, but it's not like... These are on about like...
No, we're not about it because,
but then if you can do that...
If you're sober and you meet a girl for the first time, I always do be a bit nervous, like, because the early doors you're going to blow and then you have to wait around for a while, do a few bits and
No,
pieces.
you just pull the one off, cramp my leg up.
Hello? Give us 26 minutes.
But then you're able to completely detach yourself then. Like in the moment...
With work, I detach myself. I'm like a robot, I swear. I'm acting, I'm looking how the camera is looking at me. I'm making sure that people watching can see the right angle. They can see what they want to see. So it's not like sex at home. Nothing like it whatsoever. Like sometimes I might be twisted. Even in the taxi, I might be twisted sideways and... doing that, and it's not pleasurable.
You're doing positions for the camera more.
For
pleasure, yeah.
So because it's nothing like at home, you'll get on top and you'll do your lazy way, you'll do your thing, whatever, and you won't see nothing.
Yeah.
But like to film it and for a camera and an audience to see it and enjoy it, you have to contort yourself in some different ways.
You don't think about that.
My first ever one was with 3 girls, and I couldn't come. I felt like, you think that's mad, 3 girls. I was like.
A lot of lads get nervous.
Nearly 2 hours in, like I just couldn't come. You have a cameraman coming between your legs, over your shoulder. You're doing great. You know what I mean? So it's not as easy as you think. There's people behind, then there's people behind the cameraman watching. So it's not like you're in there with them. So and obviously the cum shot's the money in porn. So I actually found it hard to come. Everyone's like, "How did you not come with 3 girls? Like these are fit girls."
Because you're gay.
Yeah. It's the cameraman that made me come.
It makes sense though.
Ear.
It makes sense though, like when you're nervous that you couldn't come or you'd come too quick, one or the other. Like this kind of you get into your own head. As you say, if you can be detached and just inhabit the character like you, I'm sure you've learned to do that as well over.
I can literally come on a button.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, I can literally come on a button. Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So we'd be talking and we're like, I always come first because I hate cum near me. I hate it. Absolutely. I just don't like my own cum. I don't like anyone else's cum. Don't like it near
It's
me.
a Catholic guilt, Andy.
Me holy water.
I can hear the baby screaming.
Yeah. So I always come first, and then I normally go then, and I can control the camera then how I want it.
Yeah.
He hates cum that much. We done the same with a girl, a double cream pie. Do you remember it? Oh. And he was like, "Richie, it's going to be great. I'll come in her first, and then you come in her." Right? So he came in her and he covered it like all over.
Yeah, I don't come like normal people, by the way. I come loads.
Oh, lots.
Yeah.
Like
So I can come from here and get
up
to the table, to the wall.
Probably
I come far as well.
I have to say I wasn't blessed with the dick that you've got, but I do have a similar thing. I think it's from the tension in me back. My cum goes.
Yeah,
to be fair, there's cock.
That's why I have 4 kids.
Out here.
I think that's why I have 4 kids. But yeah, definitely not the size, but I have got the distance.
See, so the Irish people were made for porn.
Irish people, you're here to hear
So,
first.
boys, how did you get? Honest to God.
We want to hear how Richie got into it anyway.
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah.
tell us.
I moved to Liverpool. I moved to Liverpool in the middle of COVID. I'm a barber by trade. Well, I was set up a barber's. I put like literally all I had in it, about fucking 18 grand at the time. Set it all up. 6 days later, the second lockdown kicked in. Fucked, broke. I didn't know what to do. So I always knew I had a massive cock. So I was like, how will I get into porn? So I just started emailing companies, Twitter, stuff like that, and then I got into it.
Had anybody said it to you growing up? Did anybody
I was
ever
in
say?
prison. Everyone's like in the showers, like, Jesus Christ, like, what you feeding that thing? Just like, and then obviously I wasn't, nothing like sexual in prison. It's just like you're looking at the showers, and it's just like, you could see it, like, even at the toilet, it's like, why is he holding up 4 fingers, pissing on 3 of them? And I just knew I was
You're holding it with 2 arms, pissing on none of them.
I just knew I was blessed, and then obviously a lot of women were saying it to me, but I always thought they were feeding me ego, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously when I set up the barbers, the COVID went sour, and then I just emailed a few. I got through to a company, and they gave me my first shot with them 3 girls. And then it took off for there, but I done straight porn for like 18 months. Didn't make too much money, you know what I mean? I had a lot of my fans were gay. Obviously I had my massive dick. Then I met Andy. He brought me, well, this wasn't even here then. I met Andy, he like mentored me, and then it just took off for me for there then. So I always dipped and dabbled between working with men and working with girls, because obviously,
Your own ego.
yeah. My own ego.
I don't give a fuck about my ego.
Yeah,
I
he
give a
doesn't-
fuck about money. I'm not interested in working with girls if it doesn't pay.
Yeah, you kind of whatever.
My
pays
goal
the
is to be like a world famous
very
straight
interesting.
porn star, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't mind working with lads. I escort for mainly lads. Sometimes girls, depending. But
And is it a big thing, the size for the lads, is it?
Absolutely.
Is it, yeah?
Absolutely. If you have a big cock, you're going to do well in the gay industry. But you need personality. I think
That's me fucked, so.
your personality is it?
They buy personality. What I tell all the lads when they come to me, you create a character, and then, but none of this, just because you're ripped and muscly and stuff, doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Taking selfie photos below the neck, and people don't like that. People want to see your character. They want to see you speak into the camera. They want to speak to you. They want to see you why you're having sex and why you're doing this sort of video. And they buy into you as a person rather than what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, so, but they're interested in the size as well, because they always say, like, well, the girls always say that the size doesn't matter, it's the motion in the ocean, but for the lads,
Helps when you had the Titanic.
It fucking got that kidneys.
it helps when you have the iceberg.
Well, obviously everyone's bigger, like, you know what I mean? Like, someone said, do you want a girl with small tits or big tits? You know what I mean? Like, you want the bigger tits. Like,
I'm not really bothered.
And especially, I'm not bothered. I'm not really.
when have you ever girl?
I prefer a hairy chest.
When have you ever heard a girl? You've never heard a girl in your life.
Cum glistens better.
You've never heard a woman in your life saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go out Saturday night, get drunk, and I can't wait to get a lovely small cock in me."
That's
doesn't,
true,
do you know what I mean? They never say that. It just doesn't be said, like, you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, but I'm sure, like, not the micro dicks, but well, I've been told.
But I've had a lot of people that couldn't take mine.
Yeah, that must happen
it's
as
not
well.
always
no?
I've
great
been
having a
pushed
big
away a
dick.
few times, yeah. Not on camera so much, but like our work, like I had a girl drop down to give me a wank. She's like, "I'm not riding you." Taxi.
The fake taxi pulls up.
Yeah.
So you boys were saying that the Irish could dominate the industry, I suppose, if
Yeah, the amount of people we know, the amount of Irish lads I know that have big dicks.
Jeez, I know a fella that's bigger than me, and Andy, he's about 13 inches. Chap's a plumber. He's at home married with 3 kids. Like, such a waste. Massively.
So it was funny when I told someone
plumber with a
when I told
pipe.
them we were interviewing you boys. The first thing they said about Richie, they were saying, I said, "Oh, we're going to be interviewing Andy Lee in the Irish Bull," and they're saying about. So they actually, I hadn't said your name at this stage because we were just chatting to Richie about it. We just hadn't sorted it out. And I says about Richie the Irish Bull, and he says, "Oh, he is an 11-inch cock." That was the first thing he said. I was thinking, how do you know that?
It's all over the newspapers.
So at the minute, the book.
Yeah, my book. I wrote my autobiography. I call it Smelly Kid. It's about my life growing up in Dublin from before I was born till now. It's a bit of a rags to riches style story. Like people see me all over the internet, all over wherever they see me, and they see what I want them to see. They don't see the real me. So I decided I'm at the stage in my life now where I want to tell my story. And my story is an incredible story. My mum met my dad in the Isle of Man back in 1987. Got pregnant and went back to Ireland. Left my dad over there. They were only 18 at the time. and had me. Single mum at the time. Met a new guy called John, who used to abuse her. Catholic Irish fella. Alcoholic, used to beat her up and stuff growing up. She had 2 more kids with him. We lived in a council block of flats, a really bad council block of flats in the 90s, called Dorset Street. Like, the people there were lovely, but the place was riddled with heroin back in the 90s. And at that stage, my mum had a boyfriend called Glenn, and Glenn was a little bad boy. Used to take heroin and sell heroin. And I don't know, in the 90s, do you remember the vigilante marches?
Yeah,
I do, yeah.
What do we want?
The
Push
provost.
Concerned parents against drugs.
That's them,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So they marched on our house. We used to go out with these marching, and it was great as a kid until they marched on my house. So these guys marched on our house, but banged down our door and basically dragged us out of the house, and then we were homeless. We went to a women's refuge. We went to like a nun's refuge thing, and Mum's boyfriend Glenn tried to get in to see her. Got caught on the fence, sliced himself up, and got us kicked out. So we went back to stepdad's, John's, who's an alcoholic, and he was so jealous of Glenn that he beat my mum that badly that we had to go live with my auntie. Long story short, all that went through to the age of 12. Then my mum was killed. Tough time then between, I was the oldest at the age of 12, and my youngest brother Ryan, he was 8 months old. And then we got split up, sent around different families.
Your mum died when you were 12.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's all. Mum died when I was 12, so we got sent around different family members. And at that age, 12, I started developing hormones. And I literally lost my everything. Like, my mum at that age was my everything. Lost her. I didn't really know what life was all about. Because we grew up very poor. Like, when I tell you very poor, we were very, very, very poor. And now my aunties, I go into this house that has, like, a father and a mother figure. And my cousins, like, so, and I wasn't used to it, so I wasn't used to getting up every morning, going to school, going to bed at 9 o'clock, and I sort of rebelled back against that at that age. And also, I was really depressed of my mum, so I would go out. I wouldn't go to school a lot of the days, and I would go out and just sit at my mum's graveyard and talk to her, and family members just end up kicking me out, and I would go to different family members. I was in 13 different schools, and then by the age of 15, then I was homeless, living on the streets of Dublin. Living in a car and 24-hour internet cafes and stuff. So I tell my story all about that in the book, how I got to where I was and the feelings I had and the situation. Then the age of 20, I think it was around 20, I moved to Australia. I lived in Australia for a couple of years. Travelled around Australia. While I was in Australia, my best friend died. So my best friend Clayton, he died. He was in Dublin. He was the one actually came to the airport to say goodbye. He died, and that was the hardest thing I ever dealt with in my life. And yeah, so I wasn't sure what to do about life. Visa ran out in Australia, so I had to go back to Ireland. So I decided that Ireland wasn't for me. I wasn't going to go back to Ireland. I had so much bad memories there. So I flew to the UK, landed in London. I originally came to join the British Army. I met some British soldiers in Australia, and they told me all the stories about the army. I said, this sounds cool. It sounds what I want to do. Went in, and I decided it wasn't for me. The guys were a bit bullies, and I was just too fragile at the time. I met a Filipino guy in a hostel. I was staying in a hostel in central London. I met a Filipino guy there called Sydney. And I joined the gym. Met this South African guy in the gym. Beautiful man, big blonde hair, muscly. Everything I wanted to be in life. He had all the women falling at him, like he was a big muscly guy. I was like, I want to be
Russian from Rocky IV vibes, like
sort of, you know, like that, yeah.
Vibes.
Dolph Lundgren.
Really pretty looking guy, and that he was the one who done porn. His name was Bailey. So Sydney was me Filipino friend. 2 weeks after meeting Sydney, we were standing at a bus stop, and he told me he was gay. Now this is the first ever gay person I ever met. Didn't know any gay people. So Sydney told me he was gay, and Sydney and Bailey were having a chat. I had went to the toilet, and I came back, and the conversation stopped, and I was like, "What's up with you two?" And then finally, Bailey said to Sydney, "Go on, you can tell him." And then Sydney was like, "I know Bailey from a gay porn website," and then that's how it went. I started doing porn, and
You just never look back.
No. So no, there's loads more to my story. Like, I done porn for a couple of years, as much as I could do before, because I only ever done me jerking off beside lads. Then I got a job on the oil rigs, worked offshore on the oil rigs. Came back, met a girl when I was about 21, I think. I met her at the first gay pride parade, and we got married.
Really, you've been married
for
and
4 years,
everything?
4 years, yeah. She's still my friend today, but we're not together, obviously. Then what else? So fast forward a few years. 2021, I was a gas manager for the council. My boss called me. He said, "Look, I need a phone call with you." He said, "It's come to my attention that you've done porn in the past." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "It's in the past." I said, "But there's nothing I can do about it. It's out there on the internet. I can't take it down. It's not mine." And we went back and forth. And I said, "Look, what do you want to come out of this conversation?" And he said, "I want you to resign today."
Did he explain why, like, it was bringing the company into disrepute or something?
That's what he was trying to say.
But how is that? Like, no one's going, I want to pay this gas bill, but like, I've
Yeah,
seen
but it
one
was
of
the
them.
gay stuff he didn't like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, yeah, you would think that like a company would have to be more tolerant, right?
If anything, imagine the amount of gay men that'd just go cutting their gas lines. Can you send your man?
Send your man with a big pipe to fix it.
This book's out on the 19th of March, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, no, it's out on the 10th of March. And there's loads more to the story. I was just giving you bullet points there. There's loads more to the story about me.
You have to read it in the book as well, folks. Don't forget.
Yeah. The physical book is coming out on the 10th of March. Then the week later, the 17th, the ebook comes out, Kindle.
The audiobook.
Paddy's Day.
Are
Paddy's
you
Day.
recording? Have you recorded that?
I've recorded the audiobook
Okay.
in my own voice.
I'm gonna listen. I'm
yeah.
gonna get that on Paddy's
it's
Day.
a-
That's what he does. His
I
whole
love
thing in the car is
audiobooks.
audiobooks.
I love audiobooks.
I
Yeah.
want people to buy the physical book though, because my goal is to get this to be a bestseller.
Yeah.
So the ultimate goal is sell 5,000 copies in the first week,
Yeah.
physical copies.
Yeah.
That will get me on the Sunday Times bestseller list. And then people look at me different. Then I become a best-selling author rather than a dirty porn star.
Yeah, yeah. And it kind of opens the door, yeah,
Yeah.
and puts some.
Hopefully.
And you get on. I already ordered it on Amazon, innit? You can get on Amazon.
Yeah, so
Pre-order.
it's an Amazon pre-order now.
And the
Yeah.
book's called Smelly Kid.
Smelly kid, yeah. Because I used to be a smelly kid with nits.
Well, boys,
Smelly man and it's.
there's loads in this, right? And from listening to the two of yous, do you think trauma fueled a lot of it? Because
You were saying you were in prison.
You were
When
saying
you
you were
were-
in prison, so like,
when you were younger,
and there's a world of trauma in that story. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that can get you to? Do you think trauma maybe desensitized you to a point
Not even
where you can kind of put yourself? Do you know what I mean? Like I'd say you probably don't react to bad news the way other people would react to bad news.
That's true. It's true. Trauma definitely does play a big part in doing porn because you learn to switch yourself off. Now, but I always tell people who come to me, when someone comes to me and tells me they want to do porn, and they may tell me that they're at the lowest point of their life, you know, they want to do porn now for to earn money, to do better. I'm like, this is not the right time for you. Don't do porn at the lowest point of your life because you're only going to sink deeper. You know, because as soon as you do porn, for some reason, the world seems to shame everybody that does porn, but yet the world watches it every single day.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's kind of there's probably a bit of a
No. You see, you're on the right path there because you were saying like everybody's watching it every day, but everybody shames it. Like if you think about it, the amount of people who look down their nose at the porn industry, you say about all the hate you get, but they're the first people to pick up their phone, and they're the first people that are watching your videos and watching your videos.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
They
they didn't just randomly end up on your page, like, you know what I mean? Of
course.
You know what I mean?
I have a question for you, Andy. If you think you were in Dublin now and you stayed in Dublin, where do you think you'd be
I'd be
now?
dead or in prison.
Dead or in prison?
Where would you be?
Definitely in prison, yeah. Probably dead or in prison or strung out maybe.
So what's more of your story? How did you find yourself kind of like in Ireland? So you were in a bit of trouble in Ireland before.
Yeah, I
you
was in trouble from a young age. Fucking got 12 years old, got 4 years in prison for knocking down a policeman. Then back out, start selling drugs, in and out of jail, 19, got 10 years for selling supply. Then got out.
1 sec. Sit forward.
Sorry.
Yeah, hold the microphone. The camera's there. You're swinging in the spot.
Yeah.
Right, tell your story again.
So 12 years old, I knocked down a policeman in a car chase, got 4 years detention and a 40-year ban. Would you believe that?
Yeah, so you can't drive to this day? Or can you
Still
drive?
can't. I should have got banned for life, but the maximum term for a juvenile was 40 years. The judge,
sounds unfair, isn't it,
the
for a
judge actually
juvenile?
said to me, Mr. McNally, the next time you're driving, cars will be flying. And I said, well, tell the policeman to duck instead of jump. Even the policeman were laughing in the car.
That's class.
Then I was in and out like 6 months here, shoot like 6 months there, and then I got 19, I got the big one, I got 10 years for selling supply. And then my ex-girlfriend was 7 months pregnant when I went in on that stretch, so I didn't see my son till like 6 when he got out. But then when I got out, I was right, I need to stay out. So I was still dipping and dabbling in crime, like, but just not getting caught. But it was just never...
Allegedly.
But it was never... there's just no life in Dublin. There's no life in Dublin, like.
There's really not. There isn't any life.
Because
like,
even when I was the man, there's 10 people that want to beat me. So 5 of them could very well rat on you, but the other 5 might kill you just to get to where you are.
Yeah.
So nothing good ever lasts too long, especially where we're from. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I grew up in Sherry Street. I grew up in Dorset Street Flats till 1996. Then I grew up in Sherry Street. And
Sherry Street
everyone
was
knows,
very rough back in the
it's
day.
a rough. It's not now. But like the people from Sherry Street are like a community. You know what I mean? They all look after each other, but they're also very dangerous.
Yeah.
I went back to Ireland about a year ago, or 2 years ago, it probably was now. I went back to a radio interview, and I went to see my brother Ryan, my youngest brother, when I was over there. And I walked past one of my ex-girlfriends, and she was a junkie. I couldn't believe it. Like, she was an actual heroin addict in pieces, and I felt so bad. And I see my brother, and my brother was telling me that he wants to do OnlyFans. And I said, look, you can't do this. I said, you won't be able to deal with the hate mentally. I said, because you're going to get hammered on the internet, especially being my brother. And he was like, no, I definitely want to do it. So I pulled away and told him, like, stay away, you're not ready for it. So he set up a page anyways. I told him to take it down. He said he was going to do it anyways. So I called my auntie. Obviously, we don't have parents, so I called my auntie who looked after us. And I just said, look, what do you think we should do about this? And she said, look, if he's going to do it, you might as well guide him.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, come over and live with me. And he flew over. I bought him an apartment and got my car. And his life is totally different now. Instead of getting a girl pregnant and getting stuck in that shithole in Dublin, now he's out and living his best life.
Yeah. And was that like a kind of early start to the porn star university?
Yeah,
kind of
he
thing?
was
your
at the
first
beginning,
student
yeah.
kind of thing.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And I never knew how it was going to go because I knew he was sensitive growing up. I wasn't sure how he was going to deal with all the hate. And he embraced it and he smashed it, and now he's doing
Probably
really,
you were
really well.
a role model for him, you know. He's seen it. You told him beforehand about the hate that was to come, and just let it kind of roll off a bit.
Yeah, but saying that, my other brothers was in my videos, and they got hammered. I done a video with two of my brothers, and we were just sitting beside each other, fucking jerking off. We didn't see it as such a weird thing, but they did.
Yeah.
The internet, and they hammered us. So, and the majority of the hate was from Ireland, back in Dublin. Everyone's sharing the videos on WhatsApp, and obviously my two brothers had to live over there, so they flew back to Ireland after filming. And one of my brothers was actually suicidal over it because these fuckers couldn't keep their opinions to themselves.
Yeah.
But now, I spoke to them lately about it. They're all right about it now.
Well, you see, I think boys like you are going to change everything, especially in Ireland. Because if you think about it, right, if you go to somewhere like Berlin, everything's relaxed, everything's on the table, everything's out there for everybody to see. But in Ireland, it's still sitting under.
It's mental, isn't it?
It's still it's just not spoken about. Like you boys saying this here, and we're in England now. You know, we can sit and talk like this in England. You know, But in Ireland, I think it's still. I don't think they're ready for it in some way. So I think you boys are trying to.
Or you think Ireland, like especially girls, even lads, like they're probably the dirtiest people in terms of like sexuality, like the stuff they do. But then it's frowned upon when it's on a camera, or they don't talk about like escorting's like legal over there, stuff like that. I don't understand why it's like that over there when they're.
I think it's just kind of as the culture changes, there's kind of people that hold on to the old ways. And
Yeah,
it kind of just
trying
takes,
to.
It kind of just takes the wave to get big enough.
And it will. People are changing. Look how people are with me now. Like when it first came out about me doing porn in Ireland, I done the My Massive Cock program, and that was all over the newspapers in Ireland. And
what was the My Massive Cock program?
So I done a Channel 4 contacted me and they asked me would I be interested in doing a TV show about people with massive cocks, and I was like, yeah. At the time, it was like Too Large for Love. That's what it was called.
Right.
And so it was like saying like.
Were you in season 2?
He wrote it. So yeah, I said, this is a time for me now to finally tell everybody what I do. So I turned down loads of TV dating programs and all that because it wasn't for me. But this was finally, what could they say about me? What, that they're going to laugh at me because of a massive cock? Okay. Yeah, I'm ready for it. So done this program, we filmed the whole thing. It was me actually having a threesome with a couple on camera on Channel 4. And then me measuring my dick on camera and stuff. And it was all about how you live your life with a massive cock. And the narrative of the program was like, having a massive cock is really hard to live. People use me as a sex symbol and stuff. And all these guys in the program were all miserable. And then you had me, who
like
was
I might have
like,
seen
I
that.
fucking love having a massive cock.
I feel like I might have seen that.
You
Was that
probably
about
did,
10 years ago or so?
No,
was it?
it was about 2 years ago.
All right, it must have been someone else then. All right.
So I was like, yeah, I love having a massive cock. So a week before the show went aired, the director called me and he was like, look, Andy, we've had a bit of a switch up with the program. It's now going to be called My Massive Cock. And I'm like, fuck me. Okay. So yeah, that was that. So I had to call on my family then in Ireland. So I'm calling on my aunties. You know what the old Catholic aunties are like?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so like my auntie Teresa, like she's my closest auntie. I'm like, Teresa, do you know what I do for work? And she's like, no, but I have a feeling it's going to be something weird the way you're talking. I'm like, so, well, I do porn. And she's like, you doing your arse? I'm like, yeah, I do porn.
If the money's good enough.
Yeah. And I was like, Teresa, it's not just normal porn though. She's like, what do you mean it's not normal porn? I said, it's gay porn.
How did she react?
And she was like, no, you fucking don't. And she's like, you don't. She's like, you don't. Please don't tell me. You don't. You know, like that, how they don't.
Yeah.
And she didn't cry on the
Jesus.
phone.
Jesus, Andy, no.
And then I'm like, yeah. And she's like, but are you happy? I'm like, yeah, of course I'm happy. And she's like, well, I'm happy for you. And I said, look, this is not where it stops. I said, I actually done a TV program as well.
It's called My Massive Cock.
It's coming out next week. I was like, it's called My Massive Cock. And she's like, oh, Jesus. And then she's like, what channel is it going to be on? It's going to be Channel 4. She's like, is everyone going to see it? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, fuck. And yeah, the night it came. So I called all my family because that was close to me. And then some people disowned me, like on the phone, like, fuck off you, especially my uncles. Hung up the phone and that was it, which is good. It's cool. Then the TV show came out. Wow, it blew up everything. Like that night, I'm watching it like as it's aired, and I'm like shocked.
Your Instagram's blowing up on your phone. Just
the next morning, I had phone. Like I never done a newspaper reporter call me on phone. I never done an interview. So the next morning, I get a phone call off a journalist from Ireland. Andy, we're gonna have an interview with you. I was like, yeah, no worries. And he's like, so. You know, if someone has a talent, they call it like a gift from God. Do you reckon your talent is a gift from God? I'm like, yeah, okay. And then he was like, do you reckon?
Oh, he was just clicking. He was just.
Oh
clicking on
yeah,
he was
knew exactly what he was doing.
Man says God gave me a big dick.
So you have no media training, and he's just there, just running you, leading you into every one of them. Like,
he's like, so do you reckon? Because you do porn, you must have slept with over 1,000 people. Do you reckon you did? Like, yeah, I guess so. He's like, okay. So there's a program in Ireland called The Late Late Show. Would you like to go on there if we could get you on there? I'm like, yeah. next morning, headlines: man with 10.5-inch penis calls it a gift from God, wants to go on The Late Late Show after sleeping with 1,000 people. I'm just like,
dirtboard.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, like I think that's what journalism's come to nowadays. I think
That's brilliant.
just
I love
what-
it. Now I live for it. Now I absolutely live for it.
Well, that's what I mean. Once you know what it's about, you can kind of tailor yourself to it. You can like
the rage bait is nearly bigger than. Like the engagement for the rage bit is nearly as big. Like Bonnie Blue came out last week and she said that she was pregnant last week, and you've been so that potentially. No, I'm joking.
There's the farther there.
That was me doing it. That was me doing it there to you. No. That was me looking for the headline. Yeah,
They all gave a sperm each.
No, but like, do you know what I mean? Just like that. It's about keeping your name kind of in the engagement.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now the only thing I have to ask is, boys, is the money in OnlyFans as big as everybody says it is?
For some people.
Because you always see people and they're like, right, show me your monthly, and they show them and they're like, but is it as massive as everybody says it is?
It can be.
My OnlyFans it actually got deleted because my content's a
You
bit
got
more
banned from OnlyFans.
bit more explicit.
That's a story in itself.
I have no problem telling you what I made. So I used to do. I done straight porns for the first 15 months. I was doing like $1,000 to $2,000. I done one video with Andy. It was a group thing, but it was through Andy. Jeez, I think I done 700-800 quid on it in an hour, like.
Fucking hell.
And then I went from making £1,500 months to 12 grand months to 17 grand months. And this is constantly doing videos in now at Andy's, like. And then I think 17 was my highest, but then obviously my OnlyFans went. So yeah, the money's there for me to make from for a straight male to make that is insane, like. But yeah, that's the most I made. But then my OnlyFans is gone. I have other platforms now. It doesn't do quite as well, but listen, I make a lot more than.
And what did they ban you from OnlyFans for? Or was there a specific thing, or do you
He's
not want to say?
posting pissing videos. and stuff.
Pissing videos.
Is that what you would have thought people would pay
You're
for
not
that?
allowed to
Yeah,
do
you're
it.
not allowed to do it on
Not
Oh,
on
yeah.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Dom and I was
Rules,
tying
yeah.
lads up and chasing them around. With
So to
sweeping
go
brush.
from €1,000 videos to 17,000 €, but that's the Andy Lee effect. Like,
It was Andy. He rang me one morning. He goes, "I'm not sticking that video up and tagging you in it." So I said, "Fucking check me OnlyFans." Like 184 fucking subscribers, and then he goes, "Andy's just put up the video for sale. See how it does. Stick it up for. I think I stuck it for $12.99." Boom! Straight to fucking JD.
Give us the longest pair of boxers you have.
But yeah, I know girls doing fucking like 80, 60, 70 grand.
Only he's doing fucking 600 grand a month.
Yeah. Fucking hell, imagine that.
I want to piss as well, but I'm not standing beside you two. with the OnlyFans thing, would you say it's as female dominated as porn used to be? Do you know what I mean? So it used to be just men paying for it, or do you think it's balanced now?
No, it's definitely female dominated. Absolutely. You think of the market audience is like 90% for females compared to males. Because like your female audience, you're going to have straight men, even some gay men wanting to see females with men. Then you have lesbian girls. Then you have everything in between.
Trans.
So like for everyone is out there for females, but not everyone's out there for males.
Yeah.
Like you won't have straight males really watching males.
It's kind of male dominated. To want to see what, like, to what's the word? Scratch that itch kind of thing. It's called run by males. Like male, if you're gay, you want to see men. If you're straight, you want to see women. But like it's kind of run by the male energy is kind of more.
I have a big female audience too from TikToks. So when I start doing TikToks, I got a massive influx of female audience.
But some of your TikToks are unbelievable. Like, I'm
They're cringy, aren't they?
No, the engagement in them is brilliant though.
Yeah.
The one of all the lads coming out of the
walk by video. Like
He's
people
famous for them.
People get so wound up by them. Like I'll get a lot of lads and I'll say, look lads, we're going to walk by this camera. All I want you to do is do something. As soon as you walk past the camera, do a smile or a wink, a peck dance or ho, 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 anything like that. It'll trigger people to write comments and share the video, and they go viral. We make loads of money, and then they think they're getting the better of me by like. And you'll see like a list like gay. Someone actually thought this would be a good idea. You're going to work on a labour and building site. What are you on about? Of course, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But boys, right there, and this is the thing about TikTok. Do you know your man, the king of chemo? So he's very famous. He has 2 terminal brain tumours, and he's dying.
I trains every day.
He trains every day.
I've seen him. He's
And-
Irish. Yeah.
And he's raising loads of money for charity, right? And he's probably one of the most positive humans alive, right? Doing everything right. And one day he was in a plunge pool, like an ice bath. He was sitting there, and someone just wrote, "Diane's gay." In the comments,
Like,
people are just fucking.
That's
nuts.
Irish. I bet he was Irish as well.
Do you know what I mean? Like, now you said something very interesting there. You said the trans market.
Yeah, we were thinking about that today. Has that gotten bigger now? The kind of
Because
trans
I know
porn?
lads, I know lads who have gone to Thailand, and these are straight lads, and they have they're fascinated by the whole ladyboy thing.
I
It's
shoot
just
with a lot of trans, so I know a few, mainly Brazilian, but yeah, they do very well.
No,
Yeah.
they are hot. Not what you expect. Not like Big Steve with a deep voice. These are women. To look at them, you would never tell.
So this the girl that I shoot a lot with in London, like she is like the best. She's the best looking woman I ever seen in my life. Ever.
It's crazy. And if I've
I've
been in,
I shoot with other like girls. I shoot with the biggest porn stars in the UK, like women, and I'd be like, "Oh, this trans girl's so beautiful," and even they like can't get their head around it.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
these would be very good looking, but not compared. Like there's no comparison I can show you.
in East Asia, like I know I was there in Bali for a while, and some of the ladyboys or whatever.
It's crazy, isn't it? How beautiful they are.
They're unbelievable. Like some of the most beautiful people you've ever seen in your life.
This is the one look. Now to me, that's just
Christ.
Yeah.
have to go to the toilet.
Get the forklift.
But yeah, they do very well. It's a very niche market for them. So
Is
obviously,
it
like,
a growing market though? I'd say probably. Is it?
I think for a lot of boy curious lads, like,
I've had a conversation with trans girls about this. I was saying like, who is your biggest market? And they said straight men.
Yeah.
Straight men is there. And I spoke with a lot of my friends, for example, that like trans girls, and I'm saying like, so are you attracted to the female side or are you attracted to the penis? What are you attracted to? And he's like, I don't know. And like, it's just something that's triggering them that makes this person so sexually hot. Maybe it's the forbidden fruit side of things. Like
I think it's straight like,
Like
boy
dipping a toe.
Yeah.
Dipping a toe without jumping into the pool. kind of thing,
exactly.
The boy curious ones, like they're grabbing the tit and then he does a little reach down.
yeah. Let the fingers do the
Little
walking.
back fiddler. Like,
Do you want to know? I'll tell you something. Right, what always shocks people. So the question is, who gives a better blowjob, men or women?
Right, it must be men, no?
It's men.
definitely, man. Yeah.
So I got sucked off by this guy, and it was over there actually. He deep throated me. Now my dick's fat, and he put it in his throat, and he sucked me with his throat. Now I can't explain it. I never felt that like it. Incredible. His name was Oliver Hunt. Yeah, like I never
Must
felt
have
that.
like a large mouth bass of a mouth.
He must be one of them lads that can down a pint in like half a
Yeah,
second.
one of them lads, yeah, one of them
And it
lads.
was like he was squeezing with his throat.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this, sucking me dick. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Have you had that?
I've never had a female deep throat me personally, like on and off camera. But I've had lads like that I've shot with, that fucking like want more, like pushing me from the arse, like
Yeah.
flossing their fucking abdomen.
Tickling their tummies.
Yeah, I just obviously they just know how to do it better, you know what I mean?
But that's always been the case, and I think isn't it around like, I suppose men are just dirty bastards at their core, you know, in relation to sex. Like I remember one time, must be over 10 years ago, it was a Sunday, and I was dying on the sofa. I was single at the time, would have been, and I was sitting there chatting to one of the lads, and we were watching telly, and we were dying, and we were like texting women just to see it was a Sunday, you know what I mean? You're dying, and I was like, imagine if we were gay now. I was like, men just go on Grindr and they're just,
Yeah.
well, do you want to ride? Yeah, sound, right.
yeah.
Like, whereas, you know, like, if it's a man versus a woman thing, you have to put in the work, you have to send a text, you have to do this, men are just like,
It's like, do you ever see?
I didn't know you had to put the work in.
Well, we don't get paid for it, Andy. Thanks.
we don't look like
But it's
you,
a bit
Andy,
like,
fuck's
do you ever
sake.
see David Attenborough? Do you ever see the Birds of Paradise, where there's like these birds that do these fancy dances for their mate, and then sometimes the mate just tell them to fuck off? Whereas, like, if you watch nature shows, there's these birds, I think in Madagascar or somewhere, where they have these unbelievable feathers, and they do these crazy dances, like, where they do light shows, basically, with all their feather things, and then the mate might tell them to fuck off. Whereas, and that's what I would see as women sexually sometimes are like. Whereas men are more like a fucking chimpanzee, just go grab the fucking, just try it.
How do we go from talking about porn now to animal porn?
Richard Attenborough.
Richard Attenborough.
Boys, what about bestiality? Is it a thing?
No, it's illegal. You shouldn't do it. Obviously, it happens in reality, but like, yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't happen in the porn world.
He hasn't opened his mouth there.
that fudgy better not.
No, yeah. So nothing illegal is allowed to happen in the porn world. Like, you're not allowed to do stuff like public, like openly public. You're not allowed to do pissing, shitting, anting with blood, needles.
You're not allowed to do openly public, so you can't have sex in public.
No. In the UK, for commercial porn, you're not allowed to do public porn.
Boys, hands down, what's the maddest thing you've ever done?
You.
Content wise, like probably shot with lads. Escort client like 2 weeks ago. I had a 95-year-old man. I had to help into the bath so I could piss on him for 500 quid, and then I had to lift him out of the bath. And I was like, "Mate, fuck off! You're covered in piss." That was pretty mad. I wouldn't say it was the mad. Yeah,
Would it cost extra to get taken out of the back covered and pissed, or you just wouldn't do it?
So he paid you to come over,
he snuck me into his care home.
right?
So I was like commando down, ducking by the window, just sticking in, like very careful. Yeah, he's just a regular client, like
On the bucket
seen him
list?
before, but I've never pissed on him. It was just one thing he wanted to do. Wasn't on my bucket list. It was
It's on his bucket list.
The maddest thing I ever done, I think, content-wise, I drove a taxi, a black cab, to the Eiffel Tower in Paris, filmed a porno at the Eiffel Tower, got caught by the French police and kicked out of the country.
You serious?
Deported.
escorted out, weren't you?
What?
Escorted
By the police,
out.
yeah.
Police escorted
No way.
back. It's in there in the
No.
paper.
Really, yeah?
Paper articles in there in the office.
Just like a publicity stunt job.
No, it
wasn't.
wasn't. We were intending just to make a
There's one
video.
in the background, like.
Yeah. So I said it was with two girls. I said to the girls, like, "Do you want to do something?" It was just a off the cuff, like, conversation with some girl at a party. I said, "Do you want to film a porno at the Eiffel Tower?" She's like, "Absolutely," but she stuck me to it. Yeah. I was like, "Okay." So I brought my other friend Lacey, and the three of us went over to Paris. Drove over in a little crappy taxi. It was leaking oil out the bottom, smoke coming out of the engine. We finally made it to the Eiffel Tower. We done some promo shots of the girls in the bonnet and stuff. And yeah, we were in the back starting to do our thing, and a car pulled up, and I'm like, "Girls, what's going on here?" and one of the girls took out her phone and started recording it, and it was the police.
No way.
They weren't happy.
They weren't. No, I watched a documentary recently about people that do like the 3-card Monty at the Eiffel Towers. Apparently there's loads of undercover police, or probably someone saw you.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah,
reported
maybe.
it, yeah. Something like that.
So, yeah, they weren't happy.
Yeah, the lads had to get his cock in the scene. They needed something smaller like the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, you know, the
just for a bit of scale.
size comparison.
You're blocking the Eiffel Tower.
You're
Andy.
blocking the Eiffel Tower there. Imagine you could have it as a scene. That'd be a good shot. Like just.
You know, in the paper, they wrote Eiffel Tower.
Andy, when's the book out?
My book is out on 10th of March. It's called Smelly Kid. It's a story about my life. It's a rags to riches story. It's very interesting, very different. So yeah, I recommend reading.
And you're going to hit a few cities?
Going to hit Dublin. So we're going to doing a book signing. So if someone wants to come meet and take a photo and stuff like that, we're going to do Dublin, London, Birmingham, Manchester and Glasgow consecutive days at the end of March.
Good stuff.
I pre-ordered his book on Amazon already.
So it's there for pre-order. We'll pre-order that.
Yeah,
today.
You know me, folks. I'm going to wait for the
We
audiobook.
need people to buy the physical copies.
Buy the
That's
physical.
all
I might get a
counts.
physical copy as well, but I will listen to the
I'll
audiobook.
definitely get a physical copy as well. All listeners of the Temple Bar podcast, get on that right now.
And
Get
not-
Andy Lee's book right
Not
now.
many authors do their own voiceover
No,
for the
and
book. Is that
I love
true?
it though. I love it when people do their own.
But you did do the voiceover for yours, yeah.
Still
That's-
recording now. Back in
yeah.
on the 3rd of March to finish recording.
Oh, really,
Did
yeah?
Schwarzenegger do his?
No, Schwarzenegger didn't do. Oh no, he did do his.
He did
do
do
his.
his.
Yeah.
Get to the chopper!
I could not take it with these federal compliments.
Every
no
day,
more.
you've seen that. Every day I am coming.
Yeah, but I was telling him when Schwarzenegger did it,
it
it sounded like he was going off on tangents. Like he was reading the book and then he'd go off on it sounded like he was going off on mad tangents. But
Stick to the fucking
yeah,
story.
stick to the script, hey.
What about yourself? What's happening? What's coming up now in the next while?
I'm going to London now. I have an escort client after this. Some guy likes to be a dog. I'll chase him around the hotel room. Actually play fetch with a dildo. It's a bit mad.
It's a rough life.
And I'm shooting with DJ Amazon, a very famous porn star in the UK, just like a tits worshipping video on the 6th. And then I'm not sure that I'll book something. Then I have to wait till I get tested then on the 7th, and then I'll plan me month then ahead.
I wanted to ask you actually,
Yeah.
what is the story with the testing? When do you have to do it regularly? Is there an industry?
Yeah, so every 28 days.
And it's an industry thing. Like,
Yeah,
is it-
or if you're filming loads in between the 28 days, you'd go for like a second test in between.
Yeah.
But generally every 28 days, you go into a place in London called Dean Street, or you can do it in Randocks, or there's loads of different places.
Yeah.
But Dean Street is more of the government backed one, so it's free.
Right, yeah,
You go
yeah.
in there.
NHS or
Yeah,
whatever.
and you go in there, they'll do your bloods, they'll do swabs, and they'll do your urine.
Yeah.
And then they'll physically check you if there's anything wrong with you, and they'll give you your medication if you need medication.
Yeah, you can't shoot without a certificate.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
No
And then
cert.
they give you a certificate.
So
when
it
you
is
pass
that regulated? Like
Yeah.
Oh, you have to,
yeah.
yeah. You couldn't get on a suit.
It's
You
like,
couldn't get on it.
they give you like injections for like Hep B. They give you the HSV.
HSPV 1 and 2
Yeah.
for
So we're
prevent
protected
herpes
against
and stuff
everything,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So we have all the vaccine. You get booster jobs then, just to,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah, so it's very So it's not that what the general public will say. Oh, that porn star is riddled. We're actually the opposite.
Yeah, there's
You're
nobody.
actually-
There's
you're
nobody
the
cleaner.
cleanest.
There's nobody cleaner.
There's nobody cleaner.
Yeah, it's literally part of the job. You have to be clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not so bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that
yeah,
covers
yeah,
everything, doesn't it?
yeah.
Well, that's it for episode 35 of the Temple Bar podcast with me, Jim Wynn, and Philip Noon. We want to thanks a million for the lads for having us, Andy Lee and the Bull.
Unbelievable, boys. To be honest, like today, you've just blown my fucking mind. To you,
And we hope it's going to blow some of our listeners' minds as well.
If
and
there's
blow
any
them
blowing
open.
going on around there.
If there's blowing to be done, this is the place for it, hey. So with that, we'll say, stay bold, Sláinte.